You're listening to Shoe In, covering the ins and outs of all things footwear, from sneakers to heels, loafers to slippers, and every type of shoe in between. Brought to you by the FDRA, the Footwear Industries Association focused on retail, trade, politics, and fashion, helping create and enhance conversations on all things footwear. And now your footwear insiders, Matt Priest and Andy Polk.
Andy, what's up, brother?
Hey, man, how's it going?
Going well. Jasmine, you're back as always.
Feeling good.
Good. I'm glad. You know, it's Black History Month, and one of the things we're doing this month is a lot of different activities here in the city, but we're also each Monday dropping an episode talking about Black History Month, the importance that African Americans have played within our industry for multiple decades. And our last episode, we had a great conversation with an icon in our midst, DWaynes Edwards, the founder of PENSOLE.
Yep.
Started out, he told us his shoe story, Inglewood to graduate high school, youngest designer ever, LA Gear, then on to Nike, then on to founding Jordan, then PENSOLE. What a great story. And very inspiring. And it's really cool to have someone who's still got a lot left in the, you know, icons are kind of people who are much older and maybe retired, but this guy is like right in the midst. He's at his peak performance, if you will. And to have the opportunity to still pick his brain on what makes him tick and what his story is has been fun. And so we couldn't fit it all into one episode. Yep. So as Andy said in the last episode, BOGO, buy one, get one. So this is the one.
You're welcome.
This is the one you get for free. So with that, we're going to dive more into the diversity question and what companies can do to drive diversity within their ranks. And so DWayne's got a lot to say on this topic, and let's just take it away. Let me ask you this, DWayne. Say I'm the CEO of ABC Footwear Company, and this matters to me, diversity matters to me, and I look at my ranks and I see issues, I see some of the challenges that are reflective of the broader industry. What are like 3 to 5 things I should do immediately to drive change down through the organization so I can start to correct this wrong that's currently prevailing within our industry?
One, I would say it needs to be a business line item. I think companies only do things that they really care about. Like mostly it's making money, right? And if diversity is just as important to you as making money, then you will start to see a change when it becomes a line item that you actually budget for. That's fundamentally the first problem because most companies in our industry don't have an education budget. They have very low, exterior education budgets, and then they have a very low training budget for their current employees. So it's kind of a weird system because you end up stuck with employees that will actually never, ever reach their potential because you didn't even provide them an opportunity to be further educated to, if anything, do their current job better. So I would say, one, a line item that makes it important, providing education for your current employees and the freedom to allow them to do it so they can seek maybe even a second career opportunity. And then third is reinvest into your consumers that buy your product. Mm-hmm. Talk to them in a new way. Like you can have the same conversation of this is who I am as a company and these are the products that I produce. But you can do the same conversation with, hey, this is my company, ABCD. I have employees that work in these categories and these departments, and it would be great if you can understand what we do, and maybe one day you can come work with us. Now, that's a completely different conversation than currently what's being had, which is, hey, here's my product, buy it. Mm-hmm. But the fundamentally, what you're trying to do is capture their attention and hold it for as long as possible. That's kind of what marketing and advertising is, right? So if you just look at that fundamental thought of, okay, my goal is to get this kid's attention and capture it enough so my brand could be top of mind, and then maybe they'll go buy something, right? And if everyone does it the same way, then the message is going to get lost because it's just going to become white noise. But if you're a company that decides to, like, you know what, I'm going to have a different conversation with this kid, achieve the same results of capturing their attention, but I'm speaking to them in a different way, now they're going to pay attention because you're different than all the other stuff that's coming their way. It's harder now to get this kid's attention because of social media and all the things they're bombarded with on a daily basis. It's truly like a Vegas slot machine, man. Like, when people post things on Twitter and other social media outlets, you're just gambling on the fact that they might see it on that moment when you posted it, or it shows up in their feed, where brands are just not that creative. They're just not that creative, and they're relying on the old ways and the old methods. And our industry is old, and it relies on the same methods. It's getting better though, slowly, but it's those leading brands that are changing things and making things different. And you know, we have a partnership with Foot Locker that is going to change how they speak to their consumer, where instead of it just being, hey, we have some new fresh stuff for you to buy in store, hey, you know what, why don't you design the new fresh stuff that should be sold at our store? Same conversation. You're just offering them a challenge now. You're giving them an opportunity to do something different.
Since that partnership like gives like the consumer more power, do you think that what would your recommendations be to new talent or high school kids who are really trying to get seen? Would you tell them to, create their own, brand, personal brand on social media? What would you tell them to do?
Absolutely. Oh yeah, absolutely. Become a social media star.
Okay.
But in a positive way, though, right? And I tell this to my students, too, is getting them to understand that they are a brand. And most don't consider themselves a brand, where they need their own, especially if they're creative enough to design their own logo. You should have your own logo. Like, you should have your own website that matches your name that's on your government ID. Mm-hmm. And your email should be the same that matches your government ID, instead of everyone working at Google with Gmail accounts. Where it's getting them to understand that they actually have value is kind of the hard part right now, because social media is very influential, where it kind of sells you a bit of a false sense of reality in a sense. And kids are falling for it left and right, and it's only the strong or the few that have maybe a strong mentorship base or a strong family base, or a strong education base, will start to realize, I don't want to be like everyone else. I value myself more than that, right? And I want to put myself in position to be respected and treated the same way they treat other brands that they love and like. But it's just crazy to think that these kids would go outside with their hair on nappy and clothes on iron. It happens all the time, right? This is a really bad era in hair for black people. I can say that for black guys for sure. Because back in the day, man, we wanted everything to be perfectly sculpted and smooth, right? Mm-hmm. Now it's like people be having big dents in their head. It's like when you mess up at the barbershop. They cool with the big dents. They're gonna regret this period of time when they start seeing all the pictures they took.
I think Jay-Z has definitely been influential in that and the basketball stars. Even though I don't really keep up with sports, I can definitely see the trend of just having interesting, hair up top, just wild.
Yeah, I just woke up and I'm going outside. Yeah.
I guess it's an unapologetic movement almost, but yeah.
Or I'm not sweating this. I just don't really care. I'm above it, and it's the exact opposite of what my father was a Marine. So man, if you walked out of the house not buttoned up, there was going to be an ass whooping. So not really, but he would not be happy. So
was the compromise the kid haircut with the box that went all the way up? That was at least
right.
That was sculpted.
Yeah, that was
it was unique, but it was sculpted.
Oh, it was perfect, man. That's perfect.
Man, I got to get my hands on some old photos from DWayne from his Inglewood days. That would be fun to see.
My fade was tight. I grew up in LA, so I had a Jerry curl at one point. I had it all. But I had a Gumby. Back in the day when Bobby Brown had the Gumby thing.
Oh yeah.
But it was tight though. It was neat and tight. The curl was a little sloppy. I had one of those nice, cute boys in the hood curls, but it was a little tight.
Hey, DWayne, can I ask you something too? Just diving deeper into this too, because I think another issue that I think should be raised is that the African American may not be as monolithic as people think it is, right? So the African American community in Inglewood is very different than someone in Alabama or someone in Boston, and the culture within that's a little bit different. And I think a lot of footwear companies may miss that, and I think a lot of, in general, I think in society, I think people miss that, and the differences in the type of personality and flair and ideas and the culture in each different part of this country. We're a huge country. We forget that.
Yeah.
Maybe you can speak to some of that too, of how, different people from different places bring different things.
Yeah, man. What's wild is, and I think it's a good thing. When I was growing up, and even when early in my career, like there was this massive stereotype of urban, right?
Right.
And if you actually even look up the word urban in the dictionary, it doesn't even speak to inner cities or anything like that. But there was just this perceived, this was a category in footwear, like athleisure is a category and lifestyle is a category, like urban was a category. And so because of that, like there was always this stereotypical view of the urban consumer, the cap, the hoodie, the chains, the baggy jeans, the boots and sneakers and all that, right? What I love about today, sorta, is there's that stigma is no longer there as much, because that same rapper, if you take like Andre 3000, like he was way ahead of his time. That's why his name was 3000, because he was like, you can't even see me. Because he was just doing crazy stuff. Like he was just mixing things together that you just didn't look right.
Right.
But now that's kind of the norm a little bit, where like that kid is not opposed to wearing a pink polo with some checkered golf pants and, some fresh Air Force Ones. Right. So what I do love about kind of the Black culture's impact on fashion and music is that it finally has allowed us to evolve and be comfortable with who we are instead of falling victim to being a stereotype. And regionally, of course, we're different in every parts of the region. Like out west, where I'm from, like white sneakers was always the best-selling shoe because it's always sunny outside. Where if you go out east, it was always dark shoes because the weather wasn't as good. So geographically, the industry had selling trends and those types of things and colors and prints and things like that. But absolutely, it's different now, where it's actually harder now. It's harder for a brand to say, this is for the Black consumer or the urban consumer, because we're so much more diverse now, and a lot of us are more comfortable in our skin to be okay with walking out the house with nappy hair and a button down with one sleeve, just crazy stuff, right? So I think the self-expression has grown, and that self-expression has grown and blew up in footwear, where the footwear part, which I like and don't like, but the footwear part is so much, it is the self-expression, in my opinion, of any other thing that you have on your body that you wear. Is your shoes sets off everything. And for those who know me, like I'm always in a t-shirt and some Levi's, and I got some shoes on you never seen before.
Yep.
So it's kind of like I want you to go down. Like I don't want you to see my t-shirt, which is ironed, because I iron my t-shirts every morning. But it's like I keep it normal, and then on the bottom you're like, damn, I've never seen those before.
Yeah.
Because as a kid growing up, like there's two things you never wanted to hear: is what's your size? Because that means you're about to come up out your shoes.
Right.
The second one was, where'd you get those from? And then you didn't want to tell them because you didn't want them to have the ones that you got. So, like, you just pretty much never answered any questions about yourself.
Man,
because it was always that hunt. It was always that hunt to be different. It was always that hunt to be original, and you wanted people to be you want to be individual. Where now it's like that's gone. Like kids want to be just like the Instagram post. Like that's boring as hell.
Yeah, totally.
Like it was fun waking up on Saturday morning and going to the mall and see what was new. I don't have to leave my bed now.
Yeah,
like,
those days are over.
Crazy boring.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, DWayne, you are you are unique in a lot of ways, and we're very grateful for your leadership in this area. And my I've said this to you privately, but publicly, guiding the FDRA and the industry and the association and anything that we can do to continue to drive, corrective action, a corrective action plan. We talk a lot about corrective action plans when it comes to social compliance and looking at factories, but what's the corrective action plan for the industry as it relates to diversity? And so your guidance and leadership and counsel on that will be critical, I think, to us continuing to make changes in the positive direction that we want to so make. And so we can't thank you enough for your friendship, for your guidance, for your leadership, for your story, because it's inspirational. It's just awesome to get to know you and to work with you and find ways we can collaborate and make a difference for those folks who don't see the hope that we know that there is within this industry and the opportunity that there is, and what are the ways that we can reach back and reach down and help pull people up and join. Because the footwear industry, for all its warts, all of its challenges, is a really gracious industry. It's really a lot of good people. For every Greenberg, there's another person. So how do we leverage that collaborative sense the industry has to provide opportunities for people of all different walks of life and all different colors? And so I think that's your leadership in that is so critical.
Thank you, man. It's it's just who I am. It's not like I'm trying. It's just who I am, and it's a personal mission to honestly leave my industry better than when I got it.
Right.
When I walked into it in '89, it wasn't that great, and I want to when my time is over, I want to make sure that at least there was something that happened besides me designing shoes.
Right.
And I wish more people had kind of that mindset of what is your legacy? What do you want to leave the industry besides just more shoes that may end up on some kid's shelf or some landfill somewhere, where that's just always been one of my purposes. And I'm just doing what I'm doing because I love what I do.
Cool. I love it. That's fashionable, right, Jasmine? If we talk about doing what you love, loving what you do.
Yes. So for the fashion footwear segment, I'm going to do something a little different only because it is February and we are highlighting Black influencers and things of that nature. I wanted to kind of focus on styling. Like, styling is such an important job and it's also one of those jobs that every kid doesn't know about. That is something that you can really do in movies and for magazines and all of that. And one of my favorite stylists, and she's also a designer, is Ade Samuel. She is from New York. She is a shoe designer as well as a stylist to a lot of stars. Two of my favorite people that she works with is Michael B. Jordan, who has been really popular with Creed and
Black Panther.
Yes, Wakanda forever. And Yara is like killing it on Growing Up on Freedom. So she is an amazing stylist, and then she kind of opened up her shoe brand, I think, in 2016. So I think they're going on their third year with Ade Samuel shoes. And she has a woman's brand, and it's all heels. And I love the fact that she just stuck with a great like stiletto shoe, just like very representation of like a woman in New York and killing it. So that is like one of my favorite stylists. So I just wanted to shine light on her. She also, just a shameless plug, when I was working at the fashion PR firm in New York, CM Media, she pulled a lot of things from our closet. So I've gotten to send her some stuff personally.
Oh,
so
cool.
Yeah, I've definitely been screaming inside. But yeah, she's a great fashion designer as well as a stylist. And I think the stylist is very important on getting those shoes on celebrities and really having that representation within the media. So she's a very important person to the fashion and footwear industry.
So DWayne, I kid you not, I pulled up an article about Ade from the LA Times. Ade Samuel, intern turned celebrity stylist, has a new goal. I'm like, that sounds really familiar. I know a guy who was an intern turned celebrity stylist for guys like Jordan and others.
Yeah.
So what a cool story. So it's another opportunity that Ade is kind of tracked with.
Absolutely, yeah. She's definitely opening up doors for women to see that, styling is an option, and also creating your own footwear brand.
Well,
yeah. I mean, what's crazy is who would think that you would get paid to dress people?
Right. It's so many jobs. You can do anything.
Well, DWayne, again, we can't thank you enough for this conversation. We look forward to many more to come.
Yep.
And just keep it up, man. We're big fans, and we want to help as much as we can, support it any way we can. We look forward to continuing this collaboration as far as we can take it.
yeah. And what was the URL again for Pensole?
Pensole.com, PENSOLE.com.
Yep. DWayne, thank you very much. From making fries to helping Jordan flies. I was in a similar vein. I was from the grill to the hill. I worked at Chick-fil-A flipping chickens.
All right.
And then I worked on Capitol Hill. So that was the name of my autobiography that has not been written yet, From the Grill to the Hill. So
Nice. I like that.
it's those small jobs that sometimes help us learn those traits that DWayne was talking about. Showing up to work on time, being respectful, respecting yourself. And I think another good lesson that he has for everybody really is mental fortitude. Like, there's going to be times where people don't believe in you, and you have to believe in yourself. You have to keep going through and pushing through.
That's right.
So thank you very much, DWayne. Jasmine, great episode, as always. Folks, this is Shoe and Show. You can find us at shoeandshow.com. Drop us a note. Let us know what you thought of our shows. Let us know what we should talk about, whether it's product, whether it's bringing people on, whether you want to be a guest. Let us know. We're on social media, and we definitely hope that you subscribe to our podcast and listen to it every single Monday. Did I miss anything?
You nailed it, brother.
Boom. Another show for the catalog. Definitely go back. If you're a new listener to Shoe and Show, we have like 125 shows in the can. So
like 140 something, man.
140 something
Short
now.
shrifting us.
All right, there you go. So thank you all for listening. Until next time, Shoe-In is out.
Shoe-In has been brought to you by the FDRA, the Footwear Industries Association focused on retail, trade, politics, and fashion, helping create and enhance conversations on all things footwear. For information about FDRA, visit fdra.org.